was a man who was down in need of helping hand. All it takes is you to...
Now.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. We're broadcasting on over 800 stations on Pacifica and NPR and low-power FM and college and community radio stations, and on public access TV and PBS TV stations in both TV satellite networks, Dish Network Channel 9415, Free Speech TV, 9410 Link TV, and on DirecTV Channel 375. And we're video and audio podcasting at democracynow.org. We're also broadcasting our headlines in Spanish at democracynow.org for any radio station to take, as over 250 are. Yours can, too. You can just ask. Well, the World Bank has approved a controversial $3.75 billion loan for South Africa to build one of the world's largest coal-fired power plants. The World Bank said the loan to the South African utility company Eskom would help, quote, South Africa achieve a reliable electricity supply. But environmentalists in South Africa and abroad have criticized the decision and are urging the bank to stop supporting the development of coal plants and other large emitters of greenhouse gas emissions. The United States, the Netherlands, Britain abstained from Thursday's vote. The U.S. Treasury said it abstained because of, quote, concerns about the climate impact of the project and its incompatibility with the World Bank's commitment to be a leader in climate change mitigation and adaptation. The $3.75 billion ban includes $750 million for financing for renewables and energy efficiency projects in South Africa. The project's also controversial in South Africa because the investment arm of the ruling African National Congress has a financial stake in the construction of the coal plant. We're joined now by one of the chief critics of the projects in South Africa. Desmond Desa is a South African environmentalist. He's coordinator of the South Durban Community Environmental Alliance, currently in the United States, joining us from Yale University in New Haven, Connecticut. Desmond Desa, welcome to Democracy Now! Talk about your concern about this coal-powered plant and the World Bank's financing of it.
Well, thank you for having me, and thank you to the listeners in the U.S. I've arrived here on the 5th, and basically this campaign around the Keep the Coal in the Hole started off in October last year, and suddenly it was swift. It started after we got wind in South Africa that the energy corporation, the parastatal Eskom, was applying for a loan to the World Bank. In addition, it applied to the National Energy Regulator in South Africa to increase its tariffs to residents in South Africa, already feeling the high impact of high levels of tariffs that we were paying. Having visited the local communities in and around the Medupi power station, as well as all the mines that are proposed to be open, and those currently opened already in that area, and hearing first-hand testimonials of the impact of the coal mining industry in South Africa, communities across the divide, right across race, creed, and color, and religion, have come out in total opposition to this loan being granted. It is shocking that we see that governments in the U.S., which have opposed, who have a vision for an alternative energy regime, as well as cleaner air, are the ones abstaining in not voting against this sort of loan. We're well aware that this loan will not help the poorest of the poor in South Africa. In fact, the opposite is going to happen. Already, we have over 20,000 cutoffs in the major city in South Africa, Soweto, the biggest black township in South Africa. 20,000 people are having their electricity cut off on a monthly basis because they just cannot afford to work. We know with the current economic crisis in South Africa, over 1 million people lost their jobs in 2009. And I would just want to say that we've already got millions of poor black South Africans who do not have access to the grid, who do not have access to cheap alternative electricity. And they do not use the highest energy from the Eskom company. Well, what is happening is that 40% of electricity is directly linked to the major energy users, the major corporates in South Africa, such as your aluminium smelters, BHP Billiton, as well as your Hewlett Aluminium and your major paper and chemical industries in South Africa. We know for a fact that we've asked for information around the contracts, the special deals, what we call the sweetheart deal. And this has not been forthcoming both from government and from Eskom itself. And this information has been provided to the World Bank.
Desmond, I wanted to ask you about the politics of countries like the United States not voting for it, but voting, well, abstaining from the vote. Clearly, you had some impact on them. Also, a number of leading senators and congressmen, like Barney Frank, like Senator Patrick Leahy, like Senator John Kerry, urged the World Bank not to support this. At the same time, you have the World Bank defending the loan, which it called the first major lending engagement to South Africa since the fall of apartheid, as a way to benefit the poor by creating jobs and expanding access to electricity. But talk about the movement that has gotten these countries at least to abstain.
Well, I must thank the NGOs across the world, throughout the U.S., the biggest groups in the U.S., environmental NGOs, as well as Africa Action and other NGOs, the Bank Information Center, Groundwork USA, and all the NGOs in the U.S., including across Europe, who lobbied very hard to talk to the political thing in their country and to ask them to really vote for a no. We were hoping that the U.S. will be bold, as they've been bold in their vision, bold in their statements, and bold in their policies of looking at alternatives to the coal regime. We were hopeful that we could persuade the votes from the U.S. to vote no, and the people in South Africa are looking to the U.S. for bold leadership in this matter, especially the poor people who face the impact of climate change in South Africa, who live alongside these coal-fired facilities, who suffer the high levels of asthma and cancer and the heavy metals that get emitted from these facilities. So it's to those people who are looking for bold leadership in the U.S. and we're hoping that the U.S. will be bold in their decision and vote no for it. However, having said that, I've heard that the dissenting voices were huge, and that in itself should send a signal to the World Bank that, you know, coal is not something that should be, we should keep the coal in the hole. You know, we should not be supporting and financing coal-fired power stations and coal-fired mining industries, as these cause severe destruction and damage throughout the world, and in particular in South Africa, where we've experienced huge amounts of climate change, we've had severe droughts, as well as we've had some severe rainfalls in certain areas.
Desmond Desau, what is it like?
Already,
what is it like for you to come here to the United States at the time of the worst mining disaster in more than a quarter of a century in West Virginia? 25 miners dead, 4 missing. That's, of course, a mine. You're in South Africa. Yours is the next step. It's the coal plant. But the whole issue of coal politics and what it means in this campaign you have, keep the coal in the hole.
Well, my sympathies go out to the West Virginia miners that have lost their lives and their families, and I must say I cried when I heard about it, because it reminded me back home of the many miners and the many people that have died through coal mining in South Africa. And when I saw this, my first impression was to cry tears. And, you know, I sympathize with the family. I certainly believe that there needs to be we need to look at other alternatives. We need to engage with the workers and to find other sustainable energy that can be safe, that can provide a sustainable future for the present and to protect the present generation. I think that's been lacking, and I think that the campaign to keep the coal in the hole is a very good one.